ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball. Come out to the ballpark as the Ferry Hawks welcome in the Charleston Dirty Birds May 5th through the 10th. Grab the kids and come on out. We kick it off on Tuesday, May 5th with Cinco de Baseball with $5 tickets and $5 food and beverage specials. And we end the week as we celebrate all moms on Mother's Day. Moms get in free. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Walter Sterling at 800-848-9222. You and I are about to talk to Robert Clotworthy. Robert Clotworthy is the voice, the narrator, the star. He'll never say that, but I'll say it. The star of Ancient Aliens, now entering its, 82nd season on the History Channel, Robert?
Yeah, we are in season, I think, 22.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Isn't
that
crazy?
Doesn't happen in TV.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild. And we're still going strong.
Oh, my God, yes. It's a huge hit, continues to be a huge hit. I have to ask you about something difficult because it's important. I have to ask you about David Wilcox. And David Wilcox, one of the stars of Ancient Aliens, one of the Ancient Alien experts, he passed away in the past 2 weeks. And David Wilcox, just to help you remember who he is, he was the blonde, pretty good looking for a theorist on Ancient Aliens. He was youngish, and I have to tell you, Robert, he seemed the most sane of all of them. He was the most together. He was the most footnoted. He was incredibly articulate, and he passed away by suicide in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The official reason, the motivation for the suicide was the man owed a lot of money, and the man got in with some wrong partners, and generally was having a progressively difficult life. Plus, it coincided with the president's announcement of the release of the UFO alien files, and I wonder what that connection is.
Yeah, you've got me on that one. I mean, it's very, very sad because we've lost two great theorists, Nick Pope and David. It's kind of a shock to everyone involved with the show. And I'm at a loss for words, to be honest with you.
Let's see. It says depression and overwhelming financial debt. I understand, you don't have to comment on this, but I understand that he made a partnership with a less popular member of the theorist community, and that went poorly. The man may have robbed him and put him in a very difficult situation. But David Wilcox was a real guy. He had New York Times bestseller books. He was well-known as a tremendous public speaker and a tremendous contributor to your show. So this was very sad. Now we're up to 12 people who in the past 4 years have passed away with the connection to UFOs, alien technology. The Major General who walked out of his house 3 weeks ago and never returned, well, his partner about 2 years earlier, his lab partner about 2 years earlier, she had disappeared. They were working on anti-gravity matter, and all of these things tend to connect back to UFOs, aliens, and high-end space research.
Yeah, and let's not forget Eric von Daniken, who we just lost a few months ago as well.
Now, Eric, in fairness, I think was an older gentleman, and maybe it was natural causes.
Yeah. But it was still a surprise. It was still a shock.
But he started it.
Yeah. He created the ancient astronaut theory, and Chariots of the Gods was really the book that got it all going.
Now that he's passed away, I'd like to point out that it was an interesting change in the edition of the Chariots of the Gods. There was a change in the title.
Yeah, they removed the question mark, didn't they?
Right. So in the first 3 or 4 printings, it was Chariots of the Gods, and then it became much more matter of fact as more research, more evidence rolled in, it was like, well, this really isn't much of a question anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And, I've met Eric many times at conventions. He was very, very close with Giorgio, and he was an amazing force to be reckoned with. He was just always present, always excited, enthusiastic. Always wore the same blue jacket.
Really?
You can count on that. Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I don't think you'll ever see a picture of him without that blue jacket on.
Well, Eric Von Donigan was a compelling individual in that he was a great public speaker. He was great on the radio and on TV, and in person, just a magnet. And I believe that no one else could have sold the theory, generated mass appeal for the theory, and brought it to factual life as well as he did.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Now, Mr. Clotworthy, what shows are coming up? Anything we need to pay attention to? Shows that you're particularly intrigued by, theories that are being presented?
Well, it's interesting because I'm a member of the TV Academy, and one of the things that I do each year is I put together a little clip from one of the shows to submit it for Emmy consideration. So I was looking at the show about Aliens in Our Midst, which was a show that aired back in November of 2025. And I think it's incredibly topical because it was all about the the information that's coming out and whether the aliens are actually here, and if they are,
Right.
What do they want? What are we going to do?
Right.
How are we going to react? And it showed a bit of the I guess the congressional hearings with Representative, I think it was Tim Burchett. Didn't we talk about him a couple
Yes.
of weeks ago?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was fascinating. Also, Eric was in it to get his take on it. So it kind of reinvigorated me a little bit in just thinking about what we're on the cusp of possibly learning. And they keep saying they're going to be releasing this information. I'm just, on pins and needles waiting for it to come out.
Do you think that when they release the information that we're going to be disappointed, that we could not possibly live up to what's in our heads?
Well, I asked Nick Pope about that
Really?
when I saw him back in November of last year, and he says, yeah, it could come out. It could kill it all. All of a sudden, it's like there's nothing there. Sorry, nothing to see here. Moving on. But I have a feeling that's not the case. I have a feeling that there's too many questions out there. There's too many unanswered mysteries that are floating around. That there's got to be something to it. I can't imagine that this was just this giant, massive. Everybody on Earth got into this strange psychosis where we suddenly thought there were aliens. I can't imagine that. I think there has to be some proof out there.
No, I agree with you. You and I are talking to Robert Clotworthy, the voice of Ancient Aliens. This is The Other Side of Midnight on great radio stations like WGN in Chicago. We are proud to be on WGN in Chicago. I have a question about Nick Pope.
Yeah.
Nick was in way up the chain of command in the British United Kingdom military organization, right?
Yes, he was.
Wouldn't he know everything?
I asked him about that, and there are things that he was still not allowed to talk about, even though he had left the Department of Defense many years prior. But yeah, I think he took with him some secrets that he did not reveal. He didn't tell us everything that he knew. He told us everything he was allowed to tell, and as things became, I guess, unclassified, he would talk about them.
Because Nick Pope was Secretary of Defense, the Minister of Defense in England?
No, he worked for the Ministry of Defense.
Worked for the Ministry of Defense.
Yeah, and his job was basically dealing with all the UFO, the unexplained, the UAP questions that were popping up. That was his main job.
Now, Robert Clotworthy has a very unique job as a narrator. Usually the narrator does the following. They have coffee, then they come in, then they read a script, then they go home. You are remarkably engaged with the ancient alien experts. You have conversations with them. You can quote Nick Pope. You knew David Wilcock. You know all of these people.
Yeah.
How much fun is your job?
It's hard to quantify because it's off the charts. It's really interesting. Ever since I was a kid, I was interested in this subject matter. I'm curious by nature, and you look up at the stars and wonder who's out there. Is anything out there? Are we alone? In fact, I just started reading yesterday the book Hail Mary about it's the same as the movie that's out. It's fascinating because it deals with all of this stuff. So it's been something that's intrigued me for a long time. And now to be able to be on the show and then to be friends with all of these amazing people for the length of time that we've been friends is, I must have done something really wonderful in a prior life because I've got some really good karma when it comes to that.
Now, the creator of Ancient Aliens passed away a few years ago, and I feared at that point that the relationship between the show and the network might deteriorate. It seems to be going strong. Besides the ratings, to what or to whom do you attribute the ongoing success of the show?
Well, first of all, Kevin was a visionary. He was an amazing individual. He was incredibly bright. He understood what interested the public, and he was also had a very much a childlike attitude towards life. He was excited about all kinds of things. He collected Munster memorabilia. Lost in Space. He had the Lost in Space robot in his office. So he had that quirkiness about him that was endearing, but he was also brilliant. And one of the things that he did was he created this group of people around him, and he would promote from within, and it was like family. So when he passed away, it really was. It sucked, to be honest with you. Nobody was happy about it, and everybody was fearful about what might happen. But what he had set in place, the people that he had coming in to pick up the spear and continue moving forward, are incredible. And when I go into the studio, every time I see a script, when I'm reading a script, I feel his presence in the script. Max Thompson, who writes the scripts, who is the main producer of Ancient Aliens, is brilliant. And I think the shows have gotten better and better, and I think that Kevin would be thrilled and incredibly proud.
What's gotten better and better, and I swear changes each season, but I'm not sure I'm right, is the animation at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, the animation is excellent. The overall production quality of Ancient Aliens is top-notch. It's amazing. And every episode holds up. You can look at a show that was done 10 years ago, and it's still fascinating. Still seems very much of the day. And, it's interesting. I was talking to somebody the other day about it. We've been on so long. There are people that are alive that are adults. They've never been there's never not been an Ancient Aliens episode available to them. They've grown up with the show, and that's pretty humbling.
In the past few years, an episode that stands out for you, where you sit back and go, boy, I'm really proud I narrated that. I think we revealed some information. I did a good job. The footage is original and unique. Is there one show like that?
It's got to be shows about the moon, because we've done a couple of those. We've talked about it before, you and I. I find the moon to be incredibly fascinating. All the aspects of it are just make no sense as to why it is, where it is, why it is. It's just too coincidental for it to be a coincidence. Yeah,
and everything about the moon, anytime we learn a new detail about the moon from your show, my conclusion, and it's just me, is there's no way in hell that's a natural phenomenon. That was put there. That's a satellite, a brilliant satellite
Yeah.
put up there 1 billion years ago, long forgotten by whoever put it there. It's just kicking around, long forgotten. The batteries wore out. It's just it is what it appears to be, a dead thing, but one time I believe it was not.
I agree with you. We did a show about the moon being hollow. I told you I spoke to a good friend of mine who worked at NASA who's actually heard the ringing of the moon.
Yeah.
She believes it's hollow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's and all of the things it does for us with the tides and the gravitational and how it's perfectly positioned between us and the sun to form an eclipse, which you've explained to us doesn't exist anyplace else in the solar system. It's all wacky stuff. It's wacky stuff, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, it gives us seasons. It gives us, I mean, all of it is there. The tides, it's critically important.
All right, the great Robert.
And here's
oh, go
I
ahead.
was going to say, here's something funny. You know what the official scientific name of the moon is?
No, what?
The moon.
Well, I'm glad you've cleared that up because it was haunting me.
Yes.
It was haunting me, my friend. All right, the great Robert Clotworthy, who has the life we all envy, and he lives in Los Angeles. What could get better than that? Ancient Aliens on every Friday night on the History Channel. My friend, thank you very much for being on the other side of midnight. I'm going to torture you every week, buddy.
Thank you, Walter.
Okay, thanks very much.
Sacco and Felix, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFilas.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.